Sahana bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Taran, you have a question?
Yeah, hi, Janki, good morning. Yeah, actually, it was relating to the last group discussion because I was not able to join that. I was traveling and it was not discussed.
Don't
If you would
ask
just
it.
to,
Don't worry. I'll just ask us another question. Just ask your question.
yeah, thanks, Claude. So, my question on that day was that whether the gunas of food impact the gunas, influence or impact the gunas of mind.
So answer is no, on the grounds that gross cannot affect the subtle. However, they do provide a conducive environment. We can, to understand this better, we can take the example of a tree and a plant, a tree and soil. Uh, the soil does not determine the tree. The seed determines which tree it is. But the soil provides a conducive environment for that thing to grow and to bloom. If you take an Alfonso mango and you plant it at Ratnagiri, you will get a beautiful tree, a beautiful mango tree. If you take that same seed and plant it in Scotland, you may not get a tree at all. So the causal relationship is seed and tree. There is no causal relationship between soil and tree. However, the soil provides a conducive environment. So similarly, we are all made up of tamas, rajas, and sattva. So when you eat sattvic food, it gives a conducive environment for the sattva in you to express itself. If you eat rajasic food, it's a conducive environment for rajas to express. And if you eat tamasic food, it's a conducive environment for your tamas to express. This is merely a conducive environment. The tamas, rajas, sattva is already within you. The food by itself is not going to change that ratio at all. But yes, it does provide a conducive environment.
Okay. Yeah, this gives another perspective to look at the things. So when we say conducive environment, like if we took the example of this tree planted in different locations. So if the conducive environment is to that an extent that the tree is not able to grow, even though the ingredients of sattva, tamas, rajas, whatever is required for that to express, because of the environment or soil conditions or whatever, it is not able to express. Is it okay that it is just influencing or just providing environment for expression, or it is more than that?
That depends on the seed. Because if the seed is of the kind, now obviously when you take examples, you have to, they're all restricted. But as when it comes to a human being, now you're constantly eating tamasic food. can your sattva express? Depends on how much sattva there is. If there is very little sattva, no, it will not be able to counter the environment. If there's a lot of sattva, it will counter the environment. Now, that depends on how much you have of each, or the strength of the seed. Can it counter the environment or not?
Yeah, agreed, agreed. So whether it can counter, or if sattva is less, right, and the food guna of sattva is high, so it is supporting the sattva, right, and
Manifest.
helping, yeah, 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 and helping it to kind of manifest or grow, right, as a supporting environment.
No, no, no. It's not helping it grow, it's helping it manifest. When you, the only way you have of growing your sattva is by doing spiritual sadhana. There's no other way to do this. You can eat all the best sattvic food of the world, your sattva won't grow.
Yeah, but in that sense, all the spiritual sadhanas involve some gross element in one way or the other.
Yes, but it is not the gross element that is doing. It is the subtle element that that's what you're trying, that's what you're struggling to do. It's not the gross element that
Yeah,
you're.
yeah, yeah. I got it. I got it. Yeah. Means the food itself is not impacting, but the gunas which are within that food, those gunas are
No, not within the food.
interacting with the gunas of who has eaten it.
No, no. The food is has its guna, but your gunas can change their proportion only if you're putting an effort to change their.
Correct.
Uh,
Correct. Correct. So that eating a sattvic food is a effort, is a part of the effort.
no, no. What? Some people like sattvic food. They will eat it. What effort is there? I'm a vegetarian. I eat vegetarian food. There's no effort for me to do this. I'm
No,
not
no.
struggling.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If a
No, no.
non-vegetarian is wanting to eat vegetarian, struggling to eat vegetarian, or vice versa, a vegetarian is struggling to eat non-vegetarian,
Right.
that is effort.
Correct.
For me, I mean, like, what effort is there for me to eat vegetarian? Never. So no sattva is going to increase in me by eating this kind of food because no effort.
Yeah, agreed, agreed. It will not increase, but it will help the tamasic factor which is in me not to express.
No, depends on so many factors. Now you're getting.
Exactly. No, no, no. Exactly. It will affect, but
Stick with
in the
one question.
context.
Now don't go here and there so much. Now, if I eat sattvic food, but in the tamasic way, I'm eating it vegetarian food at 11 o'clock at night. Now again, I've changed it. So you have to, I mean, don't bring other factors. Just stick with one idea, grasp it completely, and you bring in other things, it will just be a massive confusion.
No, no.
Just one thing.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not bringing any other thing. I'm just sticking to the context which you are talking, that if there is a sattvic support from outside or tamasic support from outside, the tamasic factor or sattvic factor which is already in me gets supporting to express. That's the only thing.
That's
So
correct.
if whether it is 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., I'm not taking in that. Whenever it is eaten, the tamasic factor of the external food which I eat is going to somehow interact with my tamasic factor, right? Somehow it is going to interact.
Interact means it provides a conducive
Yeah,
environment.
whatever means it provides conducive or unconducive, but the interaction is happening between the subtle gunas of the external food versus gunas, subtle gunas of my internal being. So both are at the same level, the gunas are at the same level.
So what are you trying to get at?
So what I'm saying, I am agreeing to your point that the food as such is not impacting my subtle uh, sattvic characteristics or tamasic practice, my gunas. The food, the gross food is not impacting, but the subtle gunas in the food, because that subtle gunas are at the
There's
same level,
no such
that are at the same level in which my subtle gunas are.
no,
So
no.
both,
Just stick with the original thing or reject it, but don't bring in other
no,
things.
both are true. I'm saying both are true
They're not.
because
Well,
gross food
okay,
is
don't
not
argue with me. No,
okay.
that is not true. We can go on arguing for the whole 1 hour, but I'm not going to change
Okay,
it.
okay, but I got your perspective. I got that. That is a I have not thought in that direction, but yeah, it is good. Thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you. Yeah.
Confusing everybody, Milan. That's Momita. That sounds wrong. The gunas are the food. I'm not interacting with our gunas. Okay, let's not go down one more street. The question, which was, is the other gun is tamasic, rajasic, sattvic food influencing our gunas? That question has been dealt with. Now, lots of people have lots of views on this, so we can't do each one of them. Right. So where were we? Unless somebody else has anything else, we had studied idealism. Okay. And idealism says what? That your mind creates the world. Then we studied realism. Realism says, oh, that's all a bunch of nonsense. There is a world. If you don't see it, doesn't mean the world is not there. So it is very much there. And if you think the mind is creating a world, then you create a horse, create a donkey, give me, if you think so. So the world is very much there. And um, you can't say the mind creates it. Now, this is the quarrel that these people have. Obviously, it's a simplified version. Here, what you can do if you are interested in knowing more is you can go back to the original text. Um, this kind of argument, and then the Vedantic theory of perception is given in the Woods of God Realization by Swami Ramatirtha. You can go read that. Or you can, if you are so inclined, go back and read the various idealists and the various realists and do all that stuff. I'm not recommending it. I'm simply saying that that is available to you should you want to do it. I don't see why you should, but if you want to, you can go back and do that. Now, as far as we are concerned, we are continuing with the text. Very important for us to understand is that Vedanta does something which very, very few other people do, which is simply get to the main point. It's very easy to go all over the place. Vedanta somehow is, I don't know what ability, I don't know whether you have noticed, everybody will talk so much stuff. Theorists will, all the idealists will say things, and the realists will say things, and everybody has some view. Vedanta tends to go to the root of the matter. So, the root of the matter is that idealists say the world is created by your mind's activity, and the realists say that no, there is a world out there regardless of your mind's activity. This is the crux of the issue. Okay? Now, um, I hope you've understood that base. So now let us continue. Who will read the first paragraph? I mean, this paragraph on the screen.
I can read it.
Please.
Thus, the idealists and realists have been in constant conflict with each other, with their arguments and counter arguments, quibbling and quarreling with no meeting point. The Vedantic theory of perception takes both the subject and the object into account, reconciles the differences between the idealists and the realists, and present a comprehensive formula for the phenomenon of the world. So Vedanta provides a comprehensive formula by taking into account both the subject and the object.
So, what is the biggest difference is Vedanta considers both the subject and the object. That's the biggest difference. And most people misunderstand this as you have heard, people believe that Vedanta is talking, it, you know, every philosopher has his own theories in life. So the philosophers who think about philosophers put them into buckets, some kind of bucket. So they broadly divided all these philosophers talking on perception and creation into two buckets. One is idealist and one is realist. And they have, because they don't know what to do with Vedanta, they have dumped it in the idealism bucket. But this is a wrong bucket because we don't do that. So now this is a little difficult portion. What is the Vedantic theory of perception? I don't know if it would just be easier to first explain it and then read it so that you get some basic idea. So just let me in very brief tell you what it's talking about. Now, you may remember from a long, long time ago that life is made up of
Experiences.
experience. Very good. Life is made up of experiences. Experiences are made up of
Subject and object.
subject and object. Very good. So we have already started this theory a long time ago. We're not learning something new now, but we are just putting it in the context of perception. So how do you perceive anything according to Vedanta is there is a flower, there is a flower. There is the thought of a flower in your head. When these two combine, perception of the flower can take place. But for this perception to take place, you don't need just the thought in your mind and the flower in actuality. You need one more thing, which is the self. So, what is the entire theory of perception by Vedanta is how do you perceive? You perceive because you have a thought of something in your head. That object is there. When these two come together simultaneously, in the presence of Brahman, you begin to perceive, you see it. So you have a thought of painting. Okay, you have some thoughts of painting. You go to somebody's house and there are paintings there. You will see those paintings. For both that object to exist as well as the thought in your mind to exist requires the presence of Brahman. So Vedantic theory of perception contains three elements: the objects of the realist, the thoughts of the idealist, and the presence of Brahman. Okay, so there has to be the thought of the flower in your mind, the actual flower there, and Brahman there for you to be able to say, ah, there's a flower. Right? So this is the theory. Now let us read it. Who will read the first paragraph of the theory of perception?
Hariom, ma'am. Thought plus the thought of the object will be there, right? Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
So this might come under idealist. If the thought goes, okay, Brahman is assumed, right?
We won't take any
this
questions
is,
as of now. Now let us read
okay,
it.
okay. Yes, ma'am.
And
That
then
makes sense. Yes,
once
makes
it
sense.
is clear, then we will do it.
Yes, yes. No, yes, it makes sense. I'll read the next chapter.
Okay.
The next paragraph. I can't see the screen. Is it still buffering? Yes. The theories of idealism and realism have been accented the participation of the subject and object respectively in the creation of the world. They have exposed the limitation leaning entirely towards one of them. The idealist has been rigid in holding on to the subject alone, and the realist to the object. The Vedantic theory of perception softened their views to accommodate both their stands. It finds the meeting point to explain the phenomenon of the world. So this paragraph says the idealism of rigid, that mind is the world. The realism speaks about object is only the world, but the Vedantic theory accommodate both stands by softening their views to explain the phenomenon of the world.
Very good. So this is quite clear, I think, now. Who will read the next paragraph?
I can.
Please.
The idealists have observed that the world could not have arisen without the action of the subject, that there can be no world without the play of mind, without thoughts, that the mind's participation is necessary for perceiving the world. In the absence of the mind, there can be no perception of the world. The idealists assert that, so far as this observation is concerned, they are right. But they take a step further to declare that there is nothing apart from the subject mind responsible for the creation of the world. It is the action of the subject mind thoughts alone that produces the world, nothing else, and the object plays no part in it. Idealists are right insofar as they hold that the world could not have arisen without the subject, without the mind. But they are when they declare that nothing else, nothing other than the mind is responsible for the creation. They err in rejecting the participation of the object. So this paragraph is trying to say that idealists hold the theory that the perception is only because of the mind. The thoughts create the perception. And they go a step ahead by saying that just this and nothing else creates our perception towards the world. So yeah, this is what this paragraph is trying to say.
But you can make it a little, you can tell us what we agree with. The idealists say that without the participation of the mind, there can be no world. If you're sleeping and the share market is falling, what is it to you? So without the participation of the mind, there can be no world. Correct. Where they make a mistake is they say only the mind creates the world. This is where we cannot find reason. There you cannot deny the object. You cannot say no, the object doesn't exist. So step number one is without the participation of the mind, there is no world. So if there is a painting in the room and you are not interested in painting, you're not going to see the painting. If the share market is falling, but you have no interest in shares, you have not put your money in shares, it's falling, to mera kya rehta hai? Right? So I don't know what's happening. For instance, what is happening in Kiev at the moment, many of us may not even be aware what exactly is happening there, because our mind is not there. So those whose mind is there, they will give you minute by minute, hour by hour of what is happening there. So for us, as it were, Kiev doesn't exist. For somebody who is interested, what is happening in Kiev exists, and exists very strongly. So what the idealist says is Kiev doesn't exist. This is only happening in your mind. So that doesn't sound right, because something is happening at Kiev, right? You won't say there is no painting is happening in your mind. No, there is a painting on the wall. That is why I saw it. If there was no painting, how would I see it? Am I hallucinating? So the thing has to be there. Right? The thing has to be there, and the thought of the thing has to be in my mind. So what is the idealist saying? No, the thought is in my mind. That's enough. What is their reason? They say, remove the thought from my mind and that thing goes away. Correct. But it does not make it so that it's only your mind. Now, there's a practical application to this because you may say, okay, तो मैं क्या करूँ अब होगा जो होगा. There's a practical application to this. And it's a very important practical application, which is that many people who take this, even in amongst our group, who take a very idealistic stance on things, forget that there is somebody else in the picture. And that person, that object has its own characteristics apart from me. For instance, let us say I have a very, very hot tempered husband. Okay? Now, if he is a hot tempered person, but I attribute all his anger to just myself, then I'm making a mistake because I've got nothing to do with it. That is an angry person. Now, what happens is, since we say, yeah, check how you are behaving, check everything, people start taking the whole onus of the entire world on their shoulders. They don't seem to remember subject plus object, which you studied right in the beginning. Can you give me an example of how people attribute to themselves what has got nothing to do with them? Give me some example.
Says
Failure of event.
Ganesh, I think you'll have to write today because your connection doesn't seem to be working very well.
Is it clear? Failure of an event.
Okay. Give a proper give the full idea.
If someone has failed in an event, so it can be attributed to many factors. Yes, my thing is I have done something wrong, but there are so many factors that contribute to the failure of that event. You can't take the entire onus of the failure nor the success of anything. You can't make yourself as a center.
Yes,
I
correct.
I know it's a weak example, but
Yeah, it is. But yes, fine, we can accept that. Momita. My child is not doing well in studies because I'm too busy with my job. Yes, good example. Give very, very concrete ones which are very clear.
like an employee, he gets a bonus and he thinks, oh, it's because of the work that I've done. But later he goes into the office and he learns everybody got a bonus because the boss got married or something. Like he's in a happy mood.
Okay, very good. Good thing. Very, very common example is um, uh, something like nothing whatsoever to do with me. Oh, today I have a very important meeting, so the weather is good. Arey, what is it? I must have done good karma, so the weather is good. Everybody attributes everything back to themselves. And the problem is they use the knowledge of Vedanta to justify all this nonsense. It's a very, very sad state of affairs. I really don't know what to do about it. Is no matter how stupid a person is saying, whatever stupid thing they are saying, they use um, Vedanta to justify it. Now, what to do? Momita. Kahneman proved that the so called performers at consultancies were not responsible for the big profits, but were just parts of the system which worked very well. Yes, good example. Yes, Taran? Are you giving us an example?
Yeah, not an example, but I'm a bit confused. I don't know. I'm missing something. Okay, let me understand. So the point that you are making is that if something is happening to me, it's not me. It may be due to some other factors outside. That's what we are saying.
Yes,
Okay.
maybe. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
There
So,
is,
but
there is an object outside which we say,
right. So, but till now, my understanding was that we were driving to the point that whatever is happening is all because of my resultant desires. I was attributing everything to my resultant desires. But now we are saying, or I don't know, I'm missing something, that there is something beyond my resultant desire.
No, no. Now we're discussing perception or creation, whichever word you prefer. How is it that whatever is happening, you are able to, what should I say? You are able to perceive it. How is it there for your creation? That is what we are currently discussing. Let us say that X has entered the room. You are saying, oh, my resultant desire caused X to enter the room. Now, the question here is, why am I seeing X? That's why I'm saying give very clear examples. This confusion is possible.
No,
Think of very clear
okay,
examples
okay. So
where
we are
unless that the object is there, we don't seem to. Suppose I'm having a bad relationship with my husband. I tend to think this is all because of me. When I join Vedanta, I think it's all because of him before I join. Then when I join, I say it's all because of me. But when I become mature, then I realize that he exists independent of me. It's only a practical application of the theory of perception.
let me please help me combine these two. So if the husband or the spouse, sorry, there is some construction going on. If my spouse is existing independent of me, that means, or that implies, that they can make a decision independent of me.
Correct?
So then how does the resultant desire would work?
Why not?
Because till now my understanding was everything that is happening or reacting to me is because of my resultant desire. So whatever my husband is offering me a coffee or something is because of my resultant desire. It is not his independent
That
decision.
is very, that's a very dramatic stance to have. No, that's not what it means. Your resultant desire is making you see it in a particular way. Your wife offers you coffee. Okay, so you can be grateful. You can take it for granted. You can say, what a stupid coffee you have given me. You have multiple ways of reacting to this, but that she is giving you coffee, that you don't attribute to yourself, that is her.
Okay.
Anyway,
No, okay.
as it
Okay.
is, theory of perception is tough, so let's not go back to resultant desire. Let's just continue with this. Okay, so that we understand that there is, and actually, what you're saying is an important thing to sort of get. Most people make Vedanta into an idealistic kind of thing, that everything we learn, that we somehow make it about me. And here is our chance to understand that it is not about me and the way we are making it. Yeah, you will now definitely be confused and say that, okay, but there you said it was me, and here you're saying it's not me. Now you make up your mind, is it me or is it not me? Let's go back and study resultant desire. If you understand it correctly, you will understand that it is not in contradiction to this. Resultant desire is you don't make a superstition out of resultant desire. Now, whatever is happening in my life, all objects and beings are me. No, your reaction to those objects and beings is you. Your desire for or against those objects and beings is you. But anyway, let's leave that alone for the moment. This was just trying to make it practical, because many people say, oh, theory of perception, it is so theoretical. It's not theoretical, it's really got to do with our lives. And not only it has to do with our lives, how you're understanding what is happening is actually determining what you're doing. So I'm just giving you one practical application of it. Let's don't go too much into it. Just a practical application that there is
Hariom, ma'am.
an object there. Yes, Ganesh.
Swamiji says that a blind person who does not go through a cataract surgery, one guru says that if you don't go through it, you will become blind. So this is a resultant desire, right? And I know that there are many factors, but this is that thought that there is no use to life, and there is, because there is no use to life, you will become blind. So
Not there is no use to life. You're saying I don't want to see the world.
yes, yes, I meant that. So I was comparing the text, and somewhere I felt that Vedanta is also idealistic. But now it's it's changing. So it's slightly tough to understand because that is so very clear, right? Very clearly mentioned that
No, but
this thought.
whenever it's very clear, na Ganesh, it's usually wrong. Our understanding is wrong. So it's a very sad thing, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. अब मैं क्या करूं?
I think we need to do full-time course in Vedanta to understand this at 18 or 19. Maybe it's too late now.
No, it's never too late. At 80 also, it's not late. But the best day to study Vedanta is best
Today.
time to study. Huh?
Today.
Today. What is
Morning.
gone is gone.
Morning.
No, what is gone
Morning
is gone.
studies.
Right now, this moment. Do not worry about what has gone. Morning has gone. Now, always now. So many people, they say, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. Arey, but why are you not doing it now? What's stopping you? Oh, I wanted to study Sanskrit, but I never got a chance. Arey, study it now. I wanted to go to Italy, but I never got a chance. Go now. Oh no, but I'm too old to go now. Well, other old people are traveling. Grow up. Oh, I'm too old to go now. There's no such thing. I'm too old to go now. There's no such thing. I'm too old for anything. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe I can't become an Olympic champion. I'm too old for that. Okay, understandable. But you can become an Olympic champion in the whatever other thing they have, for seniors they have. Uh, um, we always think, even in sports, we think, oh, if I wanted to play cricket, I should have started when I was 5 years old and been trained. Now I'm 45. What will I do? Be trained now. Dummy. Because why? Because why? In sports, as in all things, there are levels. There are up to 35, up to 45, up to 55, up to 65, 65 plus. In some category, you will fit. No, but I've lost a leg. Arey Baba, then you will fit in paraplegic or whatever the other categories are. Don't be silly and say, I can't do, I can't do. Of course you can do. Who told you can't do? What is the biggest sin according to Vivekananda?
Inaction.
That you're less than others. Considering.
Yes, to consider yourself, correct, Prashant, to consider yourself a weak person. You're not a weak person, you are the self. When you're talking, you can't do this and can't do that. You're running the universe. What, I can't play cricket? Mad or what? You can do whatever on earth you want to do. You want to write a book? Write a book. Momita just written a book. I have to read it still. I will do, Momita. Elsie has written a book. What do you want to do? Just do it. Stop thinking about oh this and oh that. So where were we?
I put a question.
Yes, I know, but where were we? Where did we come to? I'm not weak.
The object is independent and acts on their own.
Then?
So everything is not about me.
Then?
So that's where we were. Like Vedanta is not saying, we confuse Vedanta to be that everything is about the subject, but that is clearly not what Vedanta is saying.
Where does it come? I am weak. How you have to give the flow of thought till where we've reached, no? You're right that was the flow of thought, and then we took a diversion. Why did we take a diversion?
We asked for examples.
Okay, then. Right. Now you know how many are listening.
Janki ji, people people are using Vedanta for their wrong understanding. They're given there.
Okay.
And then Ganeshi said that we need to study Vedanta at the age of 18, and then you said we can do that even
That
at
was diversion.
80.
That was diversion.
Yes, that was all diversion. Correct. But you should know that a diversion has taken place. And you should know that we have come back now to the main idea. All that is your job.
Jankiji, every question is diversion here.
No, not every question. Even the speaker can divert to do, anybody can do anything. You maintain your concentration. Everybody is free to do whatever they want. Each one has to themselves maintain their internal discipline and not get diverted, no matter what anyone else does. Right. So who had what, Momita? Is it correct that the way we perceive the subject as me is incorrect? That is correct, Momita. Or rather, not the whole truth. Correct. And that is what Vedanta is saying, and that the BMI in the final sense is also the object. Yes. In the final sense, BMI is also the object. Correct. Now, coming back to here. So, what do the idealists say? That without the participation of the mind, there can be no word. We agree. Then they take one more step and they say that therefore the mind alone creates the word. That is where the problem lies. And the problem is not just in a theoretical sense. The problem is we are all thinking like that. That's the real problem. That's why I was saying, think of a practical example. We are all thinking that it all rests on me. No, it doesn't. Who told you it all rests on? There is an object there. Now, so there. What will the realist say? Who will read the next paragraph? Momita, you want to read what the realists say?
Yes. As opposed to the idealists, the realists have observed the creation of the world is due to the action of the object, that the object alone is responsible for the perception. In the absence of the object, there can be no world. The realists assert that, but they also further declare that nothing apart from the object is responsible for creating the world. The subject has no part to play in it. Here again, the realists are right insofar as they hold that the world could not have arisen without the object. But they err when they declare nothing other than the object is responsible for the creation. They go wrong when they reject the participation of the subject. The realists go on the other extreme and say that the world arises purely because of the object. So Vedanta agrees that there is the object, and without it there would be no world, but we disagree in that there is no subject.
That the participation of the subject is not necessary. Very good. So what is the realist stance? The realist stance is, of course, the object is there. How can you say the object is not there? For instance, can you say today no class is happening? Of course, class is happening. Can you say that nobody is asking a question? No, somebody is asking a question. The object is there. Why are you denying it? The realists say, no, all that is all no. Idealists say all object and all is nonsense. Subject is creating everything. And in our understanding of Vedanta also, we go in that direction. That I'm creating it. No, obviously not. Now, the realists say that if the object is not there, what are you going to see? The idealists say, if my mind is not there, how am I going to see it? Both of them are right, as far as this is concerned. But both of them take one step more and say, only mind or only object, and that's where we differ. Vedanta theory of this perception differs. Okay, all good so far? Only on this point, please, because now we can't divert from here. Otherwise, it'll be very confusing. Now, who will read Yes, Deepraj.
So the realists say that the subject is only seeing what is available to the world, and even without the subject, that the world exists.
The idealists say that whether you see it or not, it is there.
No, the realist. The realists say whether you see it.
Sorry, the realists say that whether your participation is there or not, it is there.
Okay. So it is
Because
like,
you didn't come to the class doesn't mean the class didn't happen.
yeah. And if you're, say, sleeping, and that doesn't mean the world has gone on a halt. It's still going on.
It's still going.
Thank you.
Now, who will read this paragraph?
I can read.
Please.
The Vedantic theory states that neither the subject nor the object per se produces the world. It takes both the subject perceiver and the object perceived for creating it. The idealists and the realists have to come together to account for its creation. Neither of them can possibly do it alone. When the subject of the idealists and the object of the realists meet, there arises the phenomenon of the world. Action and reaction take place. The interaction between the subject and object, between the perceiver and perceived, between thought and thing produce the world. So it says that the subject and the object alone cannot produce the world. The world is produced through an interaction of the subject and the object.
Both have to be present for that thing to be produced. Next paragraph. And I hope everybody is clear up to this point. Just this point, nothing else. Okay, next paragraph. Who will
I can
read?
read.
Go ahead.
Examine a perception, the perception of a flower. How does it take place? The Vedantic theory states that the quality attribute of the flower exists as the object. The thought of the flower exists in the mind as a subject. The subject impinges upon the object to bring about the perception of the flower. The union of the thought and the quality of the flower produces it. If either of them is absent, there can be no perception. Say the flower is not there. Instead, a stone is in the place of the flower. Then you will not perceive the flower. Likewise, if the thought of the flower is not in the mind, instead the thought instead another thought has preoccupied the mind, you will not perceive the flower even if it were there. Therefore, it takes both the existence of the thought and the quality of the flower to bring about the perception of the flower, the creation of the flower. So uh, this paragraph says that the object, the quality, and the attribute of the flower has to exist, and then also it has to be on the mind. The quality, the thought of the flower has to be there. Only when they two meet will the picture come in the mind of the subject. If either of them has some limitations, then we will not see the flower.
Right. So change one and the perception of the flower goes. When there is a combination of the existence of the flower and the existence of the thought of the flower in your mind, you perceive a flower. Now remove one of them. Remove the flower from there. Put a stone there. You cannot perceive a flower when there's a stone there. Or remove the other one. Let the flower be there, remove the thought from your mind. You will not perceive it. Right? So the flower has to be there. The thought of the flower has to be there in your mind, and only then will the perception take place. If you remove any one of them, there will be no perception actually. Yes, Taran?
Yeah, hi, Changi. So in the last paragraph, the last line, I couldn't get that part. when it says the creation of the flower?
So
Perception of the flower is understood.
perception and creation is used synonymously because
But but the flower is already created and it is existing in the objective world, right?
no, this is why, that's why, remember, right in the beginning we discussed this. For the purposes of this chapter, we will use perception and creation synonymously, because language is a container, and
Yes,
that container influences the thought.
correct.
So as long as you are calling it the creation of the flower just independently, okay, so unless you're accepting creation and perception is the same, you cannot have this discussion at all.
So what should we say, that the object of flower as an object is existing independent of me? What does that mean? It is not a creation of flower. How does the
Not
flower
a
comes in the
creation of the
objective world?
flower for me. It gets very confusing. You for now you just accept that these two are just after the class change these words and see what's going to happen. You are
Yeah,
going to go
yeah.
with
If
one of
no, no,
those
yeah,
theories.
yeah. Means if the last line would have been the, as you said, that the it is the creation of flower for me. If you add for me, then I agree with you. But if we
No,
just say creation of flower, then it is a different story.
you can't say that, because the moment you say that, you have assumed idealism. For the purpose of this text, for this chapter, take creation and perception the same. Otherwise, this discussion cannot be held.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
You see, it's very the difficulty of language in philosophy is something that a lot of people have actually studied a lot. It's very difficult. You can't change words, unfortunately. Anyway, we can't go to that. Deepraj?
So the thought has to be present for us to see, perceive.
Mhm.
So how do you perceive new things which we don't have a thought for necessarily? A person who hasn't, yeah.
You perceive that which you already have a thought for.
So say somebody who has never seen an elephant or a big animal in general, when he sees an elephant, the elephant is actually there, but he doesn't have the thought of an elephant. He will just see it as a big rat.
No, he will. I mean, now I have to add data to your question. There is something he knows. He knows animal, for instance. So he says, "What a strange animal." He's not saying, "What a lovely elephant." He's saying, "What a strange animal." He already has that thought. Animal is a thought he understands. Gray is a thought he understands. Ear is a thought he understands. What a strange animal. What a big ear he has. Or, oh, is that his nose? What is this thing that is coming out of his face? So he is relating it always back to what he knows. Otherwise, he can't perceive. Then he will take all these various attributes together and learn that this combination is now called elephant. So that is why it is very interesting. Also, you will notice that you tell somebody something they know nothing about, what they hear is very different from what you have told. One day, Deepraj, if you keep a maid in the house, you will understand what is the maid hearing and what am I saying. Yesterday, I told my maid that here is an apple, eat this apple. There was a little small thing on it. I said, cut this out, this little bit. You have the apple. So what does she understand out of it? She understands, cut the apple and give it to me to eat. Give it to me to eat. This is what she understands out of it. Because her understanding of the word cut is always associated with memza. Because her apples don't get cut. So cut means it has to. So you see, her perception of something. They are being told, make Wasn't that day where she did something very funny. Every evening she has to make FTS tea. So some visitor came to our house. So I told her, make 3 cups of tea. So what did she do? She made 3 cups of tea plus 1 cup for FTS. What? Why? Because she's been told every evening he is going to get a cup of tea. So you realize that people can only hear what they know. They cannot hear something new has happened now. It's my fault. I said make 3 cups of tea. I should have said make a cup for him, make a cup for me, and make a cup for the guest. Then she will be clear that she has to make. And very interestingly, when the way she made the tea was, she made 3 cups in one vessel and she made his in another, exactly the same tea. Okay, what goes on in her mind, only she knows. But you can see a good example of the theory of perception. Right? You can't hear it, you don't understand it. It makes no sense.
Ma'am, but here you can't attribute it to yourself saying that I should have explained it better because here the object plays a role too in
Yes,
your explanation.
right.
Right?
That is why I should have done
Yeah.
it better, because I understand the nature of the object.
No, but you can't say that's a failure on your part.
Well, I don't know whether failure is a good enough word, but yes, I could learn how to say it better for next time so that I get the desired result.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
to understand the object more and more and get my desired result out of it, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I will keep on nagging and saying, "Oh, you're not making it the way I say." But that's not going to help. I have to change the way I say it because
Okay.
the object is a
Okay.
little
Thank you.
baby elephant who is still learning the ropes. I have to know, right, who I'm speaking to and what will come out of it. So the interesting thing is how a person can simply not hear it, even in class. If you don't know it already, you won't hear it. It's very, 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 very strange phenomenon. Meera. Okay, you're okay, Deepraj, that how you just can't. And then when you hear it, you put it together in your own framework. Therefore, when Eliot writes about criticism, does literary criticism, he writes a very good essay on it, where he talks about how every time you learn knowledge, the entire construction changes. It is not that there is a construct to which you're adding something. Every time you learn, the entire construct changes. But what happens is we don't learn anything new. We're going on repeating in our minds what we already know. That step forward we don't take. Meera, in advertising, they use a great deal of Vedantic understanding of perception, subject and object. If we want to buy a car, all the hoardings on the road will be noticed by you. Yes, not only hoardings, what about your social media? They'll get on your case. You do one search for a car, and every ad you'll see on your various social media will be on cars.
Yeah.
They
That's
produce
right.
the object more and more so that that desire gets stronger and stronger. Yes, Gunjan?
Ma'am, is imagination also a thought? Let's say flower is not there in front of me, but I'm
You
imagining
don't have
flower.
to go and explain. Is imagination also a thought? Yes. So if you see a thought, it will be called a thought in your imagination. There is no actual creation or actual perception.
Okay. So
Like when
if
you're sleeping and in dream, is there and you went and met the queen in your dream, or you went and met King Charles. So you can't go to him tomorrow and say that I met you yesterday. You say, what met? No, you didn't meet me. So is imagination a thought? Yes, it is. Since the object is not there, there is no actual creation or actual perception, whichever word you prefer to use.
But how come things that we are seeing on our mobile phones or hoardings, how is that an actual perception?
Because it's
object
there
was-
on your phone.
But
If
the
the phone was not there, how will you see that ad? Or if the ordering was not
okay,
there,
okay,
how will you
okay,
see that?
okay. Thank you.
Mahesh, is there a discussion of error in perception, like seeing a snake instead of a rope? No, we're not currently discussing error in perception. We are talking about how do you see anything. If you see a napkin or you see a glass, how do you see it? We're just discussing that as of now. Narendra Singh Negi. Very briefly, because we are past 11:30. So very briefly.
You gave example of apple, but different people will see it differently. One only sees the outer shape and size, other will see its characteristics. So it is depending on one's knowledge, and also the reality will change according to one's knowledge. No?
Yes. I didn't give an
Like we say-
example of an apple. I gave an example of my maid. The apple was only incidental. So you caught on to the apple. This is a good example of Deepraj. This is a good example of how he is not interested in maids. He doesn't have to deal with the maid in the house. All the women listened. All the men switched off. Unless those men were dealing with the maids in the house. So see this? So yes, your perception of the apple will be highly dependent upon your understanding of apples in the first place. Correct?
Yes. Like we say, Milton only recognized Milton, the same perception. No?
Correct. Right.
Okay, thank you.
There is no experiment which can distinguish between waking state and dream sleep. It is known only after the state shifts. Okay, but we are not talking about that, Taran. Gurjan, you have something to say?
Yeah, ma'am, just a follow-up to my question.
Mhm.
Will there be a difference between the object that I see in real and the object that I see in images? There would be a difference in perception.
You are putting a question that implies a particular theory. There is a difference in what sense? From the Vedantic theory of perception, see, there's a difference. This is where all the complication arises. If I see something in my imagination, for an idealist, it's the same. For a realist, it is not. Right? For a Vedantic, he will say whatever imagination is equated to dream state, as far as Vedanta is concerned. Now you will have to decide whichever one you want to take. In your dream state, you imagine whatever. Is it the same or different? Let you decide now.
But what about, ma'am, when I see, let's say I see elephant in real and elephant on a paper, just a picture. How will Vedantin
Same
see
thing. I
this?
mean, by the theory, same thing. This what you said is what a Vedantin will say. That is a real elephant. This is a picture of an elephant.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.